Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. And before I start, I'm just going to point out that this is take 27 for the intros. Like, I've been doing this a long time and I can't get it right. So whatever we get is what we're going to get. So here we go. So today we are headed across the country to Western Australia for boat round 3, the final boat round of the 2025 series. So this one was run on Sunday, the 5th of October on the iconic Swan River right in the heart of Perth. It was one-day shootout with all the teams fishing from 7 a.m. through to 2 p.m. and based out of the Bayswater Sea Scout Hall. Now, as you know, the Swan can be a tricky system, lots of urban structure, weed edges, rock walls and flats where the bream love to hold. Now, they can be super finicky depending on the tide and water clarity. So, with that being said, Travis Newland, Josh Phillips, no strangers to the Bream Fishing Projects. They took out the win. They are also regulars on the Swan and always tough to beat here. Second went to a father and son duo of Aiden and Herbert Miller in their first wider event as a team. And as you all know, I really like that. Great to see those guys getting on. Third place was Daniel and Mitch Perella, who made the trip from southern Western Australia. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch up with these guys. So fortunately, we got to speak with Callum and Oliver from Outback Baits. Now, Callum is the creator of the mussel, which is one of the most iconic bream lures going around at the moment, catching more big bream than you can poke a stick at. So I guess you'd be pretty keen to see how they approach the things on the day. Anyway, before we jump into the chat with these guys, let's roll the intros. I'll run through the bite periods and then we'll get into it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target bream on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite bream competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here is your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
All right, so this one was run at 7 a.m. through to 2 p.m. on the Swan. According to Fishing Points, the fishing activity wheel said 73 for the day, with the major bite period running from 9:13 a.m. through to 11:43 a.m. Tide-wise, we had a high tide at 8:19 at 0.63, running down to a low tide at 3:34 at 0.27. So the competition window started just after the high and a fish right through the dropping tide. Bite periods in this one were generally short and sharp, with the solid major windows in the late morning lining up nicely with the falling tides. Many teams found that the fish were holding tighter to structure early and had to make the most of those in limited feeding windows as the current started to push. Success probably came down to staying mobile and reading the subtle bite and tide movements and putting the right presentation in front of the fish when those bite periods fired up. With that all covered, let's jump into the interviews. Here's Outback Bream Series. Okay, so first up, we have a team dropping their 4 fish for a total weight of 3.19 kilos. Giving them 4th place, I have Team Outback Breamer, Callum Dow, who fished with Oliver Frank. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Yeah, nice to see you again, Andrew. Didn't realise I'd get on for a 4th place, but that just seems where I always end up.
Well, there you go, mate. I'd take 4th anyway. 4th's pretty good. So... But mate, there's a lot going on in your world too, which I hope we can get into throughout the interview. Yeah, we'll lead into that. But mate, tell us about pre-fishing down there, mate. Did you get out and have a bit of a look around leading into the comp?
No, I never got out for a pre-fish. It's probably about a 4.5-hour drive up there, into the city. So it takes a little bit of a committed angler to go and do that, but we didn't know. And I just did my pre-fishing vicariously. There was a couple of guys that went out and were a bit blatant with photos and that they put up online. So I kind of had a feeling, and in some of those photos were some areas that I've fished previously, and I actually felt a little bit more confident fishing those areas that dug well in before.
Oh, very good, very good. Okay, so then another question about that, and leading into the comp, what do you see yourself fishing before you start the day?
It's a real structured fishery. I mean, you've got to kind of know your little areas within the area, which a lot of guys do, especially around the flats and pressure points in those mid-swan areas. So I like to concentrate downstream on the structure. I just feel like you get more of a bulk of a school sitting within pylons or on rock walls, places where you can actually target with your eyes.
Okay, let's roll straight into comp day. So yourself, I assume Oliver fished. So yourself and Oliver jumped on the boat and head off. What'd you get up to?
We were drawn about midfield, and I think only two teams went upriver. So everyone was going downstream. It's a bit of a putt, 5 knots all the way down, but everyone kind of peeled off around the Maylands flats, and I kind of expected that because leading into it, I had the idea that they weren't in Maylands just yet, but they were going to get there at some stage with the water clearing up. So we just kept going down, and we fished some of the rock walls in front of the city. Couldn't really get on much of a bite in that area. I just think we're just missing the mark a little bit because there was some schools on side scan. And then we ended up over near the canning, which is where I wanted to do the bulk of the fishing for the day. And the issue with the canning is you're not allowed a full noise before 9 a.m. So we got to the canning at about 9 just to save doing 5 knots for a couple of Ks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes a bit of a difference. Okay, so once you got up there, how'd you go? Did you start to get into them?
We got there and there was already 3 or 4 teams in the area, and they're all quite stationary. And we fished some areas that I've done well on previously, and I just couldn't work it out. Just felt so out of touch, changing lures and trying to get Oliver to rotate with me and not get stuck into a certain technique. But it was a bit daunting because we were kind of moving along the bank, but the other teams in the area were sitting in the exact same spot on spot lock, and we just presumed they were on the fish, which they were, but they weren't biting. So we ducked around and fished the Mount Henry Bridge and fished a couple of pylons. It's a concrete bridge and it's got a bit of a recess at the base of it. So you kind of try and pick your angle with the current, and we're just using the little muss in black gold and just casting upstream of the bridge and letting the wind tide and the current try and take the mussel underneath that little bit of a recess. And they were there, right? It was awesome. I probably pulled a bag in 10 minutes. I was very, very chuffed, it just completely changed the day's direction.
And that was both of you? Did you both pull fish or did you just lead the way?
Nah, I think I pulled 6 from that area and Oliver didn't get a bite. But what I think the key was I was using shine away and he wasn't. But I think line management was pretty key because of the wind and the tide. Having the front deck, it just made a lot. You could lay your line better and you could kind of allow for the current rather than casting on a 45-degree angle like he was. I was casting more on like a 75-degree angle and letting the lure kind of come down and through rather than him just casting at it and then needing to recast once his lure went past it. Yeah.
Right. Now, I reckon there's about 500 people out there that are going, what's Shine Away? They're going to have to run through and give us a bit of an idea of what that product is.
Yeah. So, it's really interesting because I got a message request one day on my social media and it was this guy and he was saying, oh, look, I've got this product and I think it's going to really suit the light tackle industry. I don't have really any brand awareness to push it out there or kind of not sure how the system works. And so we just kept chatting. I was really, really quite amazed when I heard about it and what it does and was very keen to try it. And, I've become great friends with Trav and we probably talk a few hours a week, just, really broaden what we can kind of discuss and really get into the nitty-gritty of just fishing in general. So, yeah, but he's created this product and what it does is it takes that shine or glare away off your leader, fluorocarbon leader, and also creates as a surfactant. So your lure is going to sink a lot more naturally through the water. It kind of breaks the surface tension of the line and it's just a little 1%er. It takes a bit of habit to get into using it. So what I do is I've got one hand for scent and one hand for shine away because you don't want to confuse the two. But yeah, it just takes the contaminants and oil and dirt and grit and body oils off your line. Cleans your line as well. So, I've had a couple of sessions using it, and I feel like I've caught a few more fish. But yeah, it's just it's an over time thing where you can really develop some confidence in using it.
That's it. And what's your process for actually physically putting it on the line?
So I just graze a little bit off the top, and then hold it with my index finger and my thumb, and then I have the lure on the hook keeper, and I just run about a metre long length up and down the fluorocarbon about 5 to 10 times, and then I'll apply my scent after that.
Okay, and the idea is?
Yeah, and then I'll have a couple of casts, and sometimes because the scent runs up the line on the cast, so then a couple of casts, I'll reapply it a little bit more, and then you're pretty good to go for 20, 30, 40 casts, and then you apply it again. But I think the trick is being diligent with it. And like I was reapplying when I was licking to, say, the pylon 40, 30 metres away. And then within that time, quick reapply of shine away and then go again.
Very, very good. Yeah, like we said, it's one of those, or like you said, it's one of those 1%ers where if it makes a difference on that particular day, it's going to be a big difference, particularly in a competition. Yeah,
and I felt like it did because those fish have had a lot of pressure as well over the past few weeks. I know a fair few anglers have been down there that weren't fishing the comp and just having a good old fat time on them. So
yeah, right. And to put this into context with your leader, what were you running? What strength of leader were you running for the weekend?
I was using a 5-pound leader. It's like a Sunline titanium coat type leader. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's an off-coloured leader. It's not that traditional fluorocarbon-looking stuff. It's got more of a matte blue in it.
Okay.
And, a bit sceptical, but I had a really good session using it and said, I might just stick with this stuff. And Steve at Tackle Addiction threw it in for me, and he's like, you're going to love this stuff. So, it seems to be feeling the deal now.
Yeah, fair enough. Give it a red hot crack. All right. You ended up with a bag off the bridge there. How'd the rest of your day play out?
So we went to go check out Aiden. He was just about to leave from the other side of the bridge because we found fish on the very shallowest pylon in about 5 or 6 foot of water, and we couldn't catch anything off the deeper pylon. So we waited till he left from the other side of the bridge on the shallow pylons over there, or the shallowest, and we caught up with him, and he said he caught some good fish off those sections of pylon. So I was like, well, I'm definitely going to fish it. I was like, what are you using? And he said he's using a black gold mussel. And so I was like, well, that's what I'm doing too. So first cast in there, I got a 38, and then Oliver got his first fish and only fish, and it was a 38 as well. So
right. Oh, that's a solid fish too. So that's what, 34 forkish, something like that.
Yeah. And he got his in just way too fast for my liking. I couldn't pick the net up in time, and he had that fish kind of head shaking with its head out of the water at the boat with his leader and his rod tip, and I'm going, oh no, he just couldn't get the net quick enough, but we got it in. But
so he was on the little muss.
Yeah.
What size hooks were on it?
Oh, just the size 16s.
Yeah, okay. So
they hold up pretty good. Like I've only dropped one fish for the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the way they were eating it, they were really cradling the mussel in their mouth. They weren't just picking at it. So, yeah, I had a bit of confidence, even with how we're fishing it with that free lining technique of casting in and not putting your bar line over, just feeding line out and making sure your line's laid out in front of you. And just every now and then checking the feedback of the lure, and felt that was key because I felt like if you would work the lure like a traditional vibe or move it a bit too quick or unnatural, you just wouldn't get bites after that.
Okay, and what colour braid are you running?
So goose and 12-pound V hard type braid.
So the green one?
Yeah.
The green one, yeah. Okay, cool. And how are you on seeing that visually? Like you've seen it in the water and seeing your bites okay?
Yep. I love Green's my favourite for sure.
All right. So Oliver got his fish in the well. After that, was there much more upgrades to the bag?
Nah, I pulled the hook on one that just came out head shaking and didn't feel like a too bad a fish, but it actually just went. We had 2 bite windows for the whole day, basically. Like it was, just a real timing deal, I think. And so after that, it was about midday, and we just started bouncing back to the Swan, and we were going through the Windham Bridge and saw Dan and Mitch, and we kind of identified what areas they were fishing, and we just pulled in on a little pylon towards the side, and I dropped another one, and then it was basically time to go.
Right.
There's a lot of 5 knot zones to consider, so you don't want to leave it too late.
That's it. But all in all, like you got sort of 3.19. You would have been pretty happy with that bag, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah. I knew the field there was going to be a lot of quality fish caught. I knew there was like the potential of like many 3 kilo plus bags just with how it was fishing and observing social media and seeing all the fish that people were catching. So I actually felt like it would be maybe I thought between 8 and 6 on the day, but they were just heavy, the fish we caught. They were pre-spawn fish. Like I'd look in the bags of the guys that fish Maylands and they're basically the same size fish, but the Maylands fish looked like a bit like spawned out a little bit. So kind of knew we had a few of those bags covered that I saw, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very good. All right. I think that wraps up the fishing part. There's a couple of things I want to talk to you about. First of all, I've seen some red mussels. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, so I've been making red mussels for a long time now, but I just haven't made them to sell, like available on the website. I feel like it's like every time I have a birthday sale or like every now and then I'll just include them within people's like purchases. I don't know what it is, but they really love the red muss, and I was using it at night last week, and that was good fun. Like I've never caught bream at night before, but for some reason they were just all over this red mussel at night.
How good is that?
It's also caught the biggest or the heaviest bream that's been weighed on a mussel, and that was 2.26 kilos.
Wow.
I think there's been heavier caught, but not weighed, like that's, incredible fish. And something about it. One of the guys here, Ben Oakes, he was saying that red colour or red or pink is what a bream can see like the best is in colour.
Okay.
So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, he's very knowledgeable with all that stuff, and they can see it deeper down as well. It might be something in it, but I'll just keep it as a bit of a novelty item at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. And the other thing is like we spoke about the shine away. I think we said that prior to this interview that you can get that on your website. Is that correct?
Yeah, can get it on the website. It's really exciting. It's just filtering into a lot of the bigger niche bream tackle shops at the moment. I'm just really excited for those guys. Just happy I could play a little part with helping them with their brand and reach, because it is people see it as a bit of a skeptical product. Like when I was at the comp on the weekend, there was a lot of people that the main question was, does it work or is it a gimmick? And, have you seen the photo of the 2 different lines? And yes, or what do you think? So
that's it.
It's just hard to, because people have lived without it, so they think they can keep living without it. But when the results start to show, then it's definitely going to turn a lot of heads, especially coming into summer.
I think so. And particularly, like over here, a lot of our systems are really dirty at the moment, and maybe it doesn't play as big a part. But as the systems clear up, when the rain dissipates a little bit, I think it's going to play a massive part, particularly in super, super clear water.
Yeah.
To be able to get your leader to disappear even a little bit, it has to make a difference.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to know, especially in the ABT Grand Final coming up, Bream and Marlow sometimes can be quite clear water flats down the front and might play down there.
Yeah, I think so. And for anyone that doesn't know, mate, where can they find you? Where can they find your products?
Outbackbreamerbaits.com.
.com, and that's where they can find all sorts of mussels, all sorts of different colours, some shine away and what have you. So there you go. All right. For you guys, coming in fourth place, what did you get to take home?
Got an awesome prize pack. There's a couple of really generous companies that support the WA BREAM scene. So Force Lures, Pro Lure. I know Shimano put a lot of product on the line. Tackle West were the main sponsors for this event. So there was a lot of awesome Daiwa gear that they sponsored. We also got a $100 gift voucher for Tackle West each and a couple of $100 cash. So, yeah, we're happy about that.
Right. Absolutely. Very, very good. All right, mate. Last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone else you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
I just shout out to our travel buddies, Dan and Mitch. It's been a really good year so far. We're ranked, Dan and Mitch are first and we're second in AOY. So they're 2 points ahead of us coming into the grand final in December in the home waters of Albany. So it's pretty cool, like Dan and I used to fish all the comps together. So to be 1 and 2 in AOY heading into the Albany grand final, I don't think we could have ever thought that would happen. But, here we are and we're going head to head and Alex and Ben are 1 point behind us. So, yeah, it's an exciting race on our hands. But, yeah, no, they're awesome. We like getting away, all of us staying at the same accommodation and going out for dinner and, all that type of stuff you do when you get away.
Very, very good. All right, mate. Well, as always, mate, great to chat. Thank you again. Thanks for all your support of the collective over the last couple of months. I must admit, when we did the mussels and crabs challenges, the amount of kilo fish that we caught was amazing. So big fish, like both crabs and mussels, mate, really, really good. So thanks for your support. And hopefully we do get to have a chat to you, maybe as the AOY team after the grand final.
Oh, mate, I'll be pretty excited if that's the case, yeah.
Very, very good, mate. All right, thanks again for coming on.
All right, thanks, Andrew.
Okay, so up next in second place, we have Team The Millers. They dropped their 4 fish for 3.530, which included a 900-gram kicker. With me, I have Aiden and Herbie Miller. Welcome to the show, guys.
G'day. Thank you, Decky.
No, it's good to have you back, Aiden, and good to meet you, Herbie.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Definitely one of my favourite things, like we just spoke about before, father and son, mother and son, or whatever it is, the family connection, I think is really cool. And I'm really happy to see you guys up on the podium.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
No, it was great.
Yeah, very good. Very good. How many rounds have you guys fished together?
That
was our first, yeah. So Aiden was first non-boater. I was non-boater and Aiden was first boater.
First time taken.
First time?
Yeah.
So on the podium, you're kind of 1 for 1.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Very, very good. All right. What about pre-fishing? Did you guys get a chance to get out before the band?
So we had a wedding, 3 weeks before the comp that we had to go to, but probably a month before the comp, we went out and done our usual, fished the spots. The Swan was fishing really hard, like super hard. And we ended up relaunching into the canning and we fished the canning and actually pulled up almost 4.5 kilos for 4 fish.
It was what?
Wow.
It was crazy weather, but yeah, we just sort of shot between bridges.
Yeah, like pylons on the bridge and pretty much set in stone there. Then that's the fish are there, they're holding on it. It's whether they're going to bite, and that's what we decided to do on comp day.
On comp day, yeah, and given there's a little bit of time between it, whether they'll be there when you get back to it.
Exactly. That was in the back of our heads, but we just committed and stuck to the plan.
Very good. All right. Well, tell us about your day. How did it start and how did you go about filling your first limit?
All right. So first thing in the morning, we got to the boat ramp and I went to turn the sounder on and the sounder didn't have power to it. And because we rewired the live well and done all that the night before,
yeah,
we were like, what's going on here? Like, there's no sounder, even though the sounder barely works as it is, but there was no sounder at all. So we had to fiddle with it and all, end up finding out what it was and fixed it, got on the water, went and seen all the boys.
Yeah, because we shot off, we were like 17th.
Yeah,
so we were near the back.
Right.
Yeah. But just basically I washed all the flash boats, so, for the first time having a look at them all, and it was great just seeing all the boats. You don't realise how many are around, but and all the money that they spend on them, and
It's Dad's first thing, bass boats?
Yeah, first sort of time really getting close to the bass boats and stuff like that. It was really interesting.
Yeah. And I think the field's filling out a bit more with bass boats over there now too, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
A couple of nice ones as well.
Very good. Okay, so you headed off in 17th, and the reason I stumbled there is I read one of the names there. Michael Samet, what's going on there? Sexual Chocolate.
Yeah.
In third place. That's why I stumbled. But anyway, you headed out well and truly after those guys. Tell us about your first spot.
So we've only got a little 40 on the back of the little Hornet, so everyone's past us. Everyone's off they go, which from hearing on the podcast and from the boys hearing, it's actually not a bad thing, because we go past here, all right, righto, there's no one here. So we ended up travelling. We knew we wanted to fish the canning. We were just trying to maximise our time fishing instead of travelling, because you got the 8-knot zones and whatnot, like before 9 o'clock and whatnot.
Yeah.
So we ended up stopping at the causeway. We didn't see anyone there.
Yeah, because everyone went straight through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were surprised. We were like, oh, okay, no one's having a fish here. So
we'll stop up. We'll stop here and have a 20-minute fish here, and ended up scraping one, 34 tipper off it.
Okay. That's decent.
Not donating.
Yeah.
That's the first check, that tick. And then from there we've gone and checked out another little rock wall that has drains on it.
Okay.
Fish that. You can normally can pick up some good ones there, but they weren't interested just yet. So I thought, I'll wait for the tide to come back up on the way back and stop in and see they're there again.
Yeah.
And we went through the Narrows, didn't think much of it, seen Maddie on the right-hand side and gave it to it all the way to the canning. And old Maddie's, look at our right-hand side, old Maddie's chasing us behind us. He knew exactly where we were going.
Nice.
Yeah, so he's overtaken us and he stopped in to one spot. I'm like, oh, you little cheeky bugger. But yeah, it was a good laugh. And then we ended up we're waiting for 9 o'clock, so then we didn't have to do the 8 knots all the way to Mount Henry.
That's right.
So we're like, okay, we may as well fish the Canning Bridge. No one's on it. So had a couple flick there, waited for time to tick over, and then it couldn't get anything off it. And then 9 o'clock hit, bang, off we go. We ended up stopping at a few jetties on our way and ended up pulling the second fish off one of the jetties, which was a 38 tipper that was the cockle little muss from Outback Breamers.
Okay.
Yeah, so we got that. That's 2 in the well. We're pretty excited about that. So, and that just gave me the indication that if I can get them fish to bite, I know that they're going to be on at the bridge.
Yeah, okay. So it's a good start. And when you're fishing those pontoons, what's your technique there? Are you just getting it in tight and letting it drop, or how's that work?
Yeah, so it was a bit tricky on that day. The wind was up pretty hard in our face, and we were fishing the side where the wind was pushing on.
Yeah.
So trying to zigzag the boat with the electric motor to keep away from it as much as you can, and not scare the fish as well with the electric motor sound. And
yeah.
So it was just nosing. We were nosing it in basically. You couldn't sort of go on the side, so it made it hard for me on the back to sort of get that cast in. But that, as I said, it was sort of mainly getting Aiden in the right spot and concentrating on him getting that muscle in that right spot. Wind was coming sort of on our left, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a
southerly or a southwester. Yeah, and it sort of kept pushing the boat around, and so
yeah, we started on one side of one, and I was like, that's when we're facing into the wind, and it was easier. And then that, we need to go the other side of it. We need to fish the other side of it, and that's when I'm like, all right, may as well. And then that's when I had to zigzag the boat, and it was pretty difficult, but that's got the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from there we ended up calling it quits on that. We're like, they've shut down a bit. And so then we've all right, we'll go And I was looking at the Mount Henry the whole time, like going, the pylons that I like, or Dad and I like, are free. Like Dad with Ellie on on the other side, on the shallower side, and I was kept staring at it like, we need to get there. We need to get there.
Yeah.
And so we end up punching it there, and I don't know, it was probably at this point 9:30 maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Closer to 10. And then so we jump on the pylons and started flicking again, like on the pylons, and you had to be like on the pylon,
right on it.
like right on it, and they'll sit higher.
Right.
And again, we were using the little muss. I think at this point I've swapped to the black and gold, the standard.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is another really, really great color. And so we started flicking there, and clunk goes. The third fish was the 37, I'm pretty sure, from memory, tipper, which was fighting really, actually, good, really hard.
Yeah.
And
right.
just yelling at Dad at the back, like, get the net, get the net, get the net, get the net.
I'm like, oh, cool, I'm here, don't worry.
I felt one treble come out of it, and I'm like, yeah, need to, like, either take your time or, like, try and get it in.
Yeah.
And,
to drag off a bit. And
back to drag off, Dad came clutch, scooped him again.
Yep.
And then we're like, all right, that's 3. We only need one more.
We were getting pretty excited by that stage.
We're like,
we might be in with a chance, like, so,
And then we moved on to the other side of the pylon that we're fishing, and probably it was like this weird little window that we had of just like clunk, clunk. And I'm pretty sure it was like the wind picked up at this point at probably one of its hardest, like at its peaks. And
because it sort of comes right along the water. It's sort of open water, and the wind sort of picks up and comes across the open water, and then forces sort of under the bridge, comes under the bridge.
And push,
so funnels in there.
Funnels down, yeah.
And that's when I was actually doing, like, fishing the left side of it, and I was actually casting probably 1.5 meters left away from it just to get the mussel on over. Right onto the money, and then controlling your line, making sure it's either in the water, like laying your line properly, because it was pretty tough.
There was no chance of me using the mussel and getting it in the right spot. I've been learning how to use them. I've been taught by the master here, Aiden, and starting to get the hang of them and everything. For a while there, I found it quite hard, but just learning the technique and treating it sort of like a real mussel, and letting keeping that connection to it all the time.
It sounds like on the day, given the wind and the conditions, like the front of the boat was definitely the place to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But you can't often both stand up the front of the boat.
Nah.
So there's always, it's got to be a team effort. You've got to be supporting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That sounds.
Dad was good. Like, he knew exactly. He was like, just get in the spot. I'll fish around you. You just go to town pretty much. Just go to town. And so after that then the fourth fish came along, and that was went 39 tipper.
Okay. So it's building.
Yeah. And there wasn't many bites, but the bites that happened were the good ones.
Yeah.
They were the good ones. So ended up getting that in, and we were over the moon when the fourth one came, and we're like, well, all right. So then from there on, we kept fishing the pylons. Then we moved over to the next one, a bit deeper one, and couldn't really get them to bite. The wind's dropped off now, and like it's...
Yeah, that little window seemed to close a bit.
Yeah, that window definitely closed. And then we're like, we're looking at it. It's probably about 11-ish now. And we're like, well, let's start heading back. We've got a good bag. Don't want to do anything silly where you're late or you.
We weren't too sure about how the live well was going to go, so we were always on that, trying to get healthy, and so we sort of had that because we didn't even try it beforehand. We gave it a test run, and we just sent it. And, and it happened to work really well.
It was actually really really good live well. But so from there we've Dowley's seen us pack up, and I've seen Dowley, and we've come together and had a little chat, and he's got a good little bag as well. I think he was saying some mid-30s bag, mix of mid-30s.
Yeah.
As we were talking, and he's saying like, "Oh, go fish over where we were," and he was like, "Yeah, we're planning on it, blah blah," and he ended up picking some good ones off it as well.
Yeah.
At the end, and so we've started cruising off, and then we've, I don't know, just not cruised back, but we're like, right, this is overwhelming a little bit. This is a good little bag that we've got. So like, I knew if we got rid of that 34 and upgraded that, there'd be a real good chance.
Yeah.
We'd be up in the, what we wanted was top 10.
Right. Okay.
That's what we settled for. We're like, top 10, that'd be perfect. More than that. And I was looking at it like, well, it's a good bag so far. Like, it's either 50-50.
Yeah.
And I had the drain and that rock wall still on my mind. And I knew the water was up again, up a bit higher.
Yeah, and a lot of guys stopped in. We noticed, and they were fishing around it, and wasn't pulling any fish in it.
No, a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Then we've come back at, I don't know, it's been, what was it? I had a timer on for like 12:40 or something like that. And so we fished there, ended up getting back, got to the drain and rock wall. And Dad's also gone, all right, I'll chuck the 3 pound straight through setup. Had a bronze little mussel on this time. So I've got cockle, black and gold, and bronze on 3 setups. And I've gone, if we just need one upgrade, like one upgrade, and end up pulling a 34 off it first up, and was like, umming about what one was bigger and whatnot, and scales decided to stop working.
All right.
Standard, but so we're like, we kept the original one in there, threw the other one back in, and Dad's gone, what were you using again?
The hybrid.
I said, so he was using the Sprat 85
hybrid. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's gone clunk, and he's put up a nice 36 tipper.
Okay.
And that's what we wanted. We wanted a little, like an upgrade.
A little upgrade, yeah.
Just those little bits count, and
absolutely.
We're pretty over the moon with that. We're like, yes, this is what we wanted.
Yeah, right.
Just got to get like a real kicker now. Like, and we've set it now. And if we get one proper kicker, we've got it. We know, like, real high confidence in we've got it. That bite came, and typical, it came on the 3 pound straight through, which wasn't the reason why I dropped it, but I've pitched a cast in on the rock wall on the right-hand side of it and just letting it drift. And I've hooked this thing, and I don't know really what happened, but I've
sort of overspooled or something.
Yeah, and the fluorocarbon's overspooled, like full, and I've hooked it, and I've gone to wind, and the drags just started going nuts.
Yeah,
looked down, and I've gone, oh crap, it's all wrapped up, and I'm like, and I've seen this fish like parallel, like soot it, like from one side of the rock wall, like all the way to the other side, and I've thrown the setup down, and I've started trying to handline it in.
Yeah,
like and I've got it like handlining it, watching it, and I've pulled either too hard or didn't set it hard enough or whatever happened, and I've dropped this good fish from the looks of it, and then I've got back the mussel, and there's a big scale sitting right on the hook.
Oh.
And we've gone, that was the winning fish.
Oh no,
that was the fish that we needed. But still,
I was still happy.
I honestly didn't really care at that point. We're like, well, that sucks. Well, what are we going to do?
Yeah,
we got our bag. Got a good bag.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Use that product.
Oh, the Shine Away. We're throwing the Shine Away on. Dally was actually kind enough to throw me a tub of Shine Away, and we're rubbing that on all day, which was the setup that had the heaviest leader was the one that was catching what caught all the fish pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. And so how heavy was that?
That was 7 pound.
£7. Okay, so their claim is it'll drop you down 2 line classes, so it's equivalent of 5, maybe 4 or even 3 in the way it looks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what we had tied on the rest of them.
Yeah, because many times we've always gone lower, haven't we? Like the 5 pound,
5, 4,
yeah,
sit around there.
And we've stayed away from the 6.
Yes, like ditch the 6 now, like.
But then on the comp day, we thought, no, we don't want to get busted off.
Yeah.
Have a bit of insurance. And, it was pretty rough and the water wasn't clear. So we thought, well, they're not going to really see too much, I don't think. So, yeah.
It was
it worked out well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
That product, though. Keep it going.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. It's worth it. Worth having a go.
It's the 1%ers.
Mm.
I think so. And look, it's only been a short while this product's been available. We've already had a couple of people on the show with it. So it's pretty good. One thing I did want to dive into is Herbie, you caught that fish on the Sprat.
Yep.
85. So that's the curly tail one.
The curly tail.
Yeah. What sort of jig head did you have it on and how did you get it?
1/8.
Okay.
Yeah.
A bit of weight.
It had the weight on the hook as well. Eh? Yeah. So it had the.
No, it was a jig head.
Oh, just a jig head.
Typical jig head. Yeah.
Yep. And I was just sort of just bouncing it off the bottom, getting it right in close and dropping it down on the wall. And just doing the old drop it down, a couple of hops, and then letting it go again. Just nothing too fancy. And like the couple of weekends before that, when we got the big bag, that's all I used, and that was probably the first time we used it. Well, about then, I think. Oh, we used it.
We've used it in other systems.
Yeah, we used it in Mandurah.
The first time using it in Perth, that's that was big bag.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best days I've had over many, many years.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, but it was rough as guts, but we don't mind. We're just crazy keen. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you catch them. But what colour are you running?
It was the green.
Was it
motor oil?
Motor oil, or is it Dagger? Is it
the gun?
Oh, I can't quite remember. Is it a motor?
I have to look it up.
Like a bit of a.
It's a bit lighter
green.
Lighter green.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Very good. All right, there was one other question I wanted to ask about the mussels on the bridge. When you're casting the mussel on the bridge, are you aiming to get, where are you trying to get the lure to? Are you trying to get it to hit the bridge halfway down the pylon or on the bottom or land it right at the top? What's your sort of goal there?
It's sort of, I try and figure out, seeing how the sound is not the greatest, I try to figure out, so I do one long cast, try to get it deep, and then I'll just trying to cover the whole pylon, each water column, each foot of the water column, so do a short cast, do a medium cast, do a longer one, hit the points as well. But they were just sitting higher, so I was aiming at the very end, just shy of the tip of the pylon and just snapping the bail arm over straight away and just laying that line down.
Very good. All right. Well, look, as it turns out, you guys were able to come in with a pretty decent bag for 4 fish, 3.53. In second place, what did you guys get to take home?
So we got $350 cash, a Kuma reel each.
Nice.
A great little lure bag from Tackle West.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good mates of ours.
It was $100 marine, was it?
Yeah, I can't quite remember the marine shop, but we got $100 voucher each for a marine shop, and
there was another voucher.
I think that was it. That was it.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, good little prizes.
Very, very good. All right, then. Well, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Definitely. There's a little list, but first of all is the water crew. Definitely have to give a thanks to the water crew because they put heaps of time and effort into it, and we wouldn't have it without them. Especially everyone being friendly and so welcoming, and
that's what I found. It was really good.
Yeah, really welcome.
Oh, that's awesome.
So them, have to give a shout out to old Dowley. He's Mr. Outback Bream Baits himself. He's always good to chat with. We try to figure out what he's doing in his system, what I'm doing, and also his muss. That's just absolute weapon in WA. Like, especially,
Yeah.
but definitely our favourite. And
Okay, nice.
Shine Away. Would love to give a shout out to Shine Away.
Yep. Travis and Amando.
Yep. He's that from just that day. It's definitely staying in the boat, getting used. And another one is Carl State.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, Carl State gets a shout out. He was probably the one that put the most effort into me when I was getting first into tournament, just non-boating, and he'd take me out and teach me, like, go through it, still keep in contact. I actually had a phone call with him yesterday, but yeah, like, definitely a big shout out to Carl. He deserves that. And
and Tackle West guys.
Yeah, Tackle West.
All the volunteers.
And Dad as well, putting up with me. Waking him up in the morning. And like every weekend, going out. And yeah.
So the old master is getting taught by the new master now.
How good is that?
Really opened up the fishing for me. I'm enjoying it more so now than I did, years ago. It's just using the different products that are out there is just mind-blowing compared to how it used to be years ago. You put a hard body on or something like that. Now there's just so much variety. And just learning that technique with that type of lure and stuff like that has really opened up a new world for us, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's very, very good. Like I said, one of my favourite things to see, let's just say family teams together. There's just a few different mixes, but it's good to see.
Yeah.
And also one last shout out, Leafy, is you. Big shout out, right? You make some long drives really short with your podcasts. They are awesome. You learn a ton of information from them. Even with different systems around Australia, like, you can always pick something up. Yeah, it's great. I listen every day. The podcast is on in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Thank you. All right, guys, that's absolutely fantastic. Well done on your efforts. Good luck in the grand final, and hopefully we get to have a chat to you again soon.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, Lloyd. Thank you.
Okay, so coming in first place, we have Team Absolutely Crabulous. They dropped their 4 fish for 3.590, which included Big Bream for the comp at 1.15. I'd like to welcome back to the Bream Fishing Project Travis Newland and Josh Phillips. Welcome back, guys.
Andrew, how you going? Good to be back.
Thanks, Andrew.
Mate, you guys had a cracking day out there, and in talking to you before we got started, you had not just the one Big Bream, but another one as well.
Yeah, not every day we would weigh in a bag with 2 fish nudging that kilo mark. So, yeah, excellent day on the water.
Absolutely. And before we get into it, I'm told it was a pretty tricky little pre-fish, and then a little bit of testing conditions a little bit on the water.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think pre-fish we managed one fish that was legal, a 26 tipper, and that was it. So I think all we really learned was, where not to go. But often that's, just as helpful as having a good day.
Yeah. And that was a couple of weeks prior?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Okay. I'm curious to know, you got one fish and pre-fish. How much time did you spend on the water?
Would have been a good 9 hours.
Wow. Wow, that sucks. How many, did you catch any other fish?
I think it was one other grunter, yellowtail grunter, and then another flathead, I think. That was about it.
And there was a tarwhine.
You got a tarwhine. Yeah, you got a tarwhine. That's right. Yeah.
We launched way up and basically fished our way down because we weren't sure whether or not the fish would be up past sort of Bassendean Way or further down towards Maylands or further down towards the city. So we were just kind of covering ground and just kind of get a feel for where they were congregating. But all we really knew was that they were in none of those areas, and we only made it down really just as far as the city in our pre-fish. So we figured that we were going to target further downstream during the comp.
I think from memory, just in general, the bait activity in the life looked a lot better downriver, which I think is what helped us make that call.
Right. And the one solo bream that you caught, what did you catch it on?
That was on a Bruce.
On a Bruce.
Yeah, on the good old Bruce.
The Bruce. All right. So all in all, you do your pre-fish. It's a tough day, but sometimes, like I think we said, working out where not to go is just as important as finding them. Like if you can cancel a big chunk of the river out, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Let's roll around into comp day. Tell us about how it started. How did you start getting fish in the well?
Well, we decided we were going to, motor all the way down, and because it's quite a slow trip from where we launch, most of it's 5 knots, so it takes quite a while. It took us probably the best part of an hour to get down past the Narrows, and that was where we started fishing along a section of retaining wall near the old Swan Brewery, and we started throwing all sorts of lures. And then some dolphins came. So we figured, well, obviously there's plenty of fish in the area, because usually the dolphin activities, it's a terrible sign if you're trying to catch fish, but it's a good sign that there's something there. So it kind of boosted our confidence a little bit that we'd kind of made the right decision to go down. But they sort of spooked the bream within 500 metres of where they were. So we just kept on fishing back from that old Swan Brewery back towards the Narrows, and I think Trav started getting that he got the first couple close to the Narrows.
Yeah, I remember we kind of came across a small patch, and then I think it was probably after a good, we'll just say we spent about an hour travelling, but then it did take us a good 45 odd minutes to kind of start kind of picking up a bit. But yeah, I remember we caught a few small ones that kind of we started thinking that we were, kind of onto something.
Okay.
I don't think we would have had our legal in the well until probably 9 o'clock.
No. Yeah. It did take us quite a while.
Wow. I'm thinking that you must have been second guessing yourself a little bit by then.
Oh, definitely. And I think at that point as well, I think we had 3 or 4 boats come past us, which we seen stop earlier on in the morning as we were heading down. So, seeing boats moving, you're kind of questioning that if you're doing the right thing. And I think what did it as well was that wind kind of slowly picked up, and that bite has slowly improved as well. And with the wind just came the better fish quality.
Oh.
Yeah. If you're familiar with the layout of the river, the Narrows is kind of like where the main sort of connecting bridge for the north and south of the city is. And it is a very narrow section of river, so the current does pick up through there, and there's usually quite a lot of life. So it's a good place to kind of just sort of speculate, cast around and just sort of see what's hanging out. We saw people fishing on the pylons on the Narrows, on the bridge. I didn't see them actually catch anything, but it's usually a good spot to sort of get a feel for generally where the fish are going to be hanging out, whether or not they'll be in the lower reaches or the upper reaches, or if they're moving through. But yeah, as soon as we got upstream of the Narrows and that wind started picking up, that was when our sort of luck sort of started to change.
Very good. All right, well, tell us about the first fish in the well then.
I think the first fish was only like a 27 tipper, which I think I was throwing the Bruce at that point, also throwing around the OG Outback Bream mussel, just kind of working the drop-offs along the retaining wall. Josh was throwing a mixture of things as well. I think the crankbait got a few.
Yeah, I'd been throwing a crankbait and a grub, a baby vibe, and the Bruce, just sort of alternating between them. And we were trying a few different techniques along some of those retaining walls, some of them, casting sort of perpendicular, some of them trying to get in sort of parallel. Some of them were even casting out wide, like away from the walls and working it back towards it. But it really did take us a while. It was very, very patchy until we got up to the Narrows and then just started sort of moving around towards a bank that was a little bit more wind exposed. And that was where I started focusing on the crankbait. And I think, so Trav got that first one, I think, on the Bruce, and then another one on the Muss, both small fish. And then I think that was when I started getting I got the first quality fish on a crankbait. That was it's an atomic double deep, the 38 double deep, and in the Tim's prawn colour.
Okay. You must have had that lure for a while, because I don't think they do the double deep anymore.
Oh, really? I've got stacks of them, so I've got enough to last me for the next decade.
Very good, because it's got the thin bib on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
They don't cast so well, but what I love about them is, you can just cast them right in tight to structure, and then they go almost vertically down. So just on a really slow retrieve, which when you're fishing around those retaining walls, you really do need them to just sort of dive straight down really quick. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, wow. It's interesting because, like you said, they don't cast so well, but they're also a different profile to the other crank 38s. They weren't the same shape.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you know more about them than what I do. So, but I've used them for quite a long time in the Swan. So that was probably one of the first crankbaits that I ever fished. Along with the chubbies. But I just started buying them when I first got into bream fishing because they were relatively inexpensive, as opposed to, you know, they're like, I think you could get them on special for maybe like $10.
Yeah.
So you could stock up on those and, you know, cast them around all the timber upstream. And so that was sort of where I got into them. And I've still got obviously a large collection of them. But yeah, that Tim's prawn double deep was what I had tied on that day. And that was based on looking back at some of my diary, I guess, of previous captures around that time of year. And I knew that one had worked well in previous years. It's usually when the watercolour in the Swan is quite stained after we've had a lot of that winter rainfall. And yeah, the river, because we've had a very wet winter here in Perth, is still very, very tannin stained and quite muddy.
Okay.
So,
and the quality of those first couple of fish?
So yeah, the first quality one I think was like 35 centimetres. So after we'd been sort of just getting rats up until that point, finally having something that pulled some string was a bit of excitement. And so to get that in the well,
I think we were pretty excited to get that one, the kicker in there. Well, you know, a bit thicker through the middle, definitely made a bit of a difference and boosted the confidence.
Yeah,
I think from that point we kind of this is what we need to do, and we just need to find similar areas and just replicate.
Yeah,
and yeah.
Okay, and that was on the retaining wall. What sort of currents flowing through there?
Not a lot of flow, to be honest, not on that stretch. And there wasn't just a lot of flow the whole day because the tides were relatively small tides, actually. So there wasn't a lot of run, but it was copping a decent breeze.
More so the wind direction.
Okay. So you got a couple. How did the day progress?
Trav got the next legal as we sort of fished the stretch from the Narrows around through to Elizabeth Quay. And Trav got the next legal. I think that was on a Bruce.
Yeah. So Josh got his fish on the crankbait, but I kind of still, Bruce is my confidence lure, so I just kind of wanted to try something a bit different. In between the flatties, I was getting the odd brim, but yeah, I did get a few on the Bruce.
Very good, very good.
So that meant we had our 4 after that capture, and at that point we sort of said, well, we didn't really hammer that first stretch of bank back closer to the Narrows. We kind of fished it relatively quickly just because we were prospecting. So we said, well, let's just go have another pass. So that's what we did. Went back to kind of where we'd started on that bank where I caught the first sort of decent one. And pretty much like a minute later, hooked up to
cast.
Yeah, hooked up to another proper solid one. And that one was a 39 centimetre fish and like really well conditioned, like chunky fish too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that one would have been nudging a kilo. So to have that one, a 35, and then another couple of smaller fish, that was great.
Yeah, right.
And then we're thinking, all right, we're onto a bit of a pattern here, 2 quality fish on the crank. So we're just thinking, all right, we just need 2 more decent upgrades and we've got a quality bag.
Okay. And you said before that you'd kind of tried running perpendicular to the wall, parallel and deeper. Like, did you work out a pattern?
Well, the banks that we were fishing, I just found I needed the wind to my back to get the casting distance. So it wasn't necessarily the angle of attack to the wall. It was more just about getting plenty of distance between me and that lure because, and the benefit for me, because Trav was at the front of the boat controlling that with a bit of a into the wind. I was at the back of the boat. I was able to have a really easy cast from the back of the boat straight downwind, whereas Trav was kind of battling the wind a little bit more, casting sort of side on. So I felt like I had a bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, okay.
From the back of the boat.
And if, like in my experience fishing edges in particular with cranks or deep diving cranks, you need them to bang off the structure to really generate the bite.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's all I do with those deep cranks. Just wind them straight down and then chug them along the bottom. And usually once you feel them bumping into the rocks, that's when the brim will bite. Sometimes it's into the sediment, but often I find around these parts of the river, you just need to find that little bit of extra like rocky or gravelly structure on the bottom, and you can clearly tell the difference as the bib sort of bumps into it, whether or not it's on rock or sand or mud. But yeah, usually as soon as it starts bumping into something a little bit solid, you'd start really waiting for that bite, and that's exactly what was happening.
Yeah, fair enough. And the other thing that I used to do with them, I used to put a sticky weight under the chin to try and make them cast a little bit further and rise a little bit slower. Have you ever experimented with that?
No, I can't say I have. No.
Yeah, okay. Very cool. All right. So moving on, was that about the wrap up for your day, or was there another upgrade late in the session?
There's a couple more, yeah.
yeah, there was another upgrade. I think by that point we even went back to that same spot where we got the two good fish, the upgrades. I think we actually tried for a third time.
As you would.
Yeah, no.
Kind of looking at the clock, kind of deciding what to do, because we still wanted to kind of go fish, on the way up before the time was up. So we did fish that spot again, and then we just kind of made a decision to just cruise back and fish a couple of spots. Not too far from the city, but yeah, just a little bit upriver.
Okay. And how'd those last couple of spots go?
The next spot that we fished, one of the retaining walls, sort of along Langley Park, it's done well for us in the past, and there was definitely activity. As soon as I landed the crank, like on my first cast there, I had a really solid bump, but then couldn't replicate it. So I kind of felt like I missed that opportunity on that particular section of wall. And then, so from there, we moved probably about another half a K up to another section of rock wall around Harrison Island. And that was where, pretty much like a couple of minutes after we'd arrived, positioned the boat, just managed it like a long parallel cast along the rock wall. And then, came up tight on like a really solid fish.
Yeah, that was a good run on it as well.
And it was right up on the edge. It was one of those ones where as soon as you hook it, the fish broke the surface, and then you're like, oh yeah, okay, this is a quality fish. And I was just like holding the rod tip up, trying to
dead silent on the boat as well. We were pretty nervous.
Yeah, right.
Nervous to get that one, not pull hooks, not to stuff it up.
Yeah. And I was only running 3 pound all day as well. So hooking up to something that it's over a kilo, and you're like, oh, okay. And it's a little bit sketchy, the territory around some of the rocks.
You'll have to get into a bit of the history about the last couple of months beforehand. We've had a few run-ins with some good fish in that area, which kind of Josh got a bit of a redemption, I must say.
Yeah, probably about, I don't know, a month or two before the comp, on that exact stretch of wall, I'd hooked up to a really quality fish, but just managed to pull the hooks on it. And that was after having it on the line for probably, I don't know, a couple of minutes, it felt like.
Yeah.
But it was just slogging it out, and eventually the hook pulled. So this fish felt about like a similar sort of weight, similar class. But this one, it managed to just stay connected. And then after a few decent runs, eventually got it up to the net. That was a 41 centimetre fish. That was the big bream for the day.
Okay. That was a big bream. And that was, once again, on the crank 38 double deep.
Yep.
Tim's prawn.
Yep. Tim's prawn.
Yeah.
Yep.
And at about, what would you say, Josh, about 12:30, 1 o'clock?
Yeah, something like that. Well, there was another fish after that, another upgrade, like on the same stretch of wall. And I think that would have been, around about 1. And then we decided we'd start motoring back.
Yeah, about an hour's travel time.
Wow.
So,
Okay. So that last little upgrade was like you won by like 60 grams, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what would have pushed us over the line. I think we would have been pretty close otherwise.
Yeah. Because I think the last upgrade was from like a 31 tipper to like a fat 33 tipper. So
I think that would do it. That would definitely do it.
And we were talking on the way back as well, where we thought we'd be sitting. And I think I said top. I reckon I think I said top 3.
Yeah.
Somewhere within that region. So we're quite surprised because it's always a bit of an odd one. You're wondering how we did. I don't think we spoke to many people on the water that day. Seen a lot of people moving around, and then some people just stayed in their usual spots. Thinking, well, maybe they're doing well there. You hear about all the pre-fishes, but we're quite surprised to find out we were on top.
Yeah, totally. In previous years, like winning bags in the Swan comps, like have been well under 3 kilos, and we were looking at each other going, well, we've definitely got over 3 in that bag. So it's a good bag, but we just felt like the river was fishing quite well. Like we knew that if we had persisted on some of those rock walls where we'd actually found the larger fish, perhaps if we'd found them earlier in the day as well, we might have even ended up with a better bag.
Yeah.
So we were thinking, well, if others maybe had cottoned on to that pattern, maybe we'll kind of be, maybe top 3 or top 5. But we thought that others might have cottoned on to that. So, yeah, it was very surprising when we got back to sort of just see, I mean, the average bags must have been up on previous years because there was quite a few over 3 kilos.
Yeah. Well, your average fish weight was 637 grams. So times 4 is 2.5 kilos. That's just your average fish, which tells you it was a reasonable comp.
Yeah. I think we won the Swan round probably 2 years ago with a bag that would have only been maybe not even 2.5.
Right. One thing I was thinking, if you had to do the day again, what would you change? Is there anything you'd do more of or less of, or if I could dial in quicker?
No, I'm not too sure. I mean, I don't know. I think we were in the right area, but in saying that, I remember we fished a bit closer, right down from launch, probably about a K, and Josh was using the crankbaits. And I remember you caught like a 33, which is our smallest fish for the bag. Like right at the end of the day, we had like 15 minutes to go. So I don't know if it was just that crankbait bite that maybe in other areas we would have done all right. But I don't know. I think like Josh said, with the water quality, we're definitely in the right area for those larger, fatter fish.
Yeah, it's hard for me to sort of put my finger on what we would have done differently. I think the area where we started, well, I think we were pretty close. We probably did spend a little bit too much time around one of the particular areas there where we started getting bites. I think we probably should have cottoned on that they weren't the class of fish that were going to win us a comp. So I think we were kind of persisting there because we thought maybe that we would find some bigger ones amongst them. But yeah, they obviously weren't there. We had to move up a little bit to find the better class of fish. But ultimately we found them. And I don't get too nervous these days in comps because there's been so many times where, the better fish, they come after sort of, 11 o'clock or midday. The big ones don't tend to come, or at least not for me anyway, don't tend to come that early. So I always feel like if you've got a bag by 11 or 12, you're still well in with a good chance to get, a big upgrade and then come home strong. So as long as you got the full bag, because that's the confidence that you need to then go chase those upgrades.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Well, all in all, it sounds like a pretty good day. So for coming in actually, one thing before we move off, you definitely, Josh, you were running 3 pounds straight through on the cranks?
Yeah, that's right. Not straight through. It was, 3 pound tied to some
3 pound leader?
Yeah, 0.6 PE.
What rod were you running?
Well, I'm running the 1 to 3 kilo Shimano Anarchy.
Okay.
Yeah, really liking that one. I think we actually won it comp.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, but I've been really enjoying using those.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, very nice. And Travis, with the Bruce, mate, what was your combo setup?
It's just 4 pound fluoro with 0.6 braid, and then I was just running duff rods.
Okay, which rod do you remember?
Well, I couldn't remember the model off the top of my head, but it's a 1 to 3. What's it called? Black Edition, I think they're called.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Cool. So you guys ended up in first place with Big Bream. What do you guys get to take home for that?
I think we got 550 cash for first place.
Yeah,
plus a bunch of vouchers. I think $300 of vouchers for Tackle West, and I think another, was it $300 vouchers for Serrano Marine?
Yeah, 200 for Serrano Marine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And plus the Big Bream prize. Oh, sorry. But we also got 2 Daiwa Revelry reels as well.
Yeah.
For Big Bream, or if it was part of the prize?
No, for first place. That was part of the first place prize.
Yeah, we scored one each, which is nice.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And then, the Big Bream prize was another $500 cash.
Wow, that was a big score. That's amazing. That Big Bream makes such a difference to your whole day.
Oh, totally. Yeah. We knew that was going to be, a game changer for us. I wasn't sure, but I was like, I reckon that's got to go close to Big Bream once we voted that big one. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely a favourite catch. I think given the history and the redemption, I think Josh definitely deserved that one.
Yeah, and it always seems to be the way when you get those big ones late on comp day. They're so memorable. Like that'll be in the memory bank for a long, long time. So
Have you retired the crankbait up with the board?
Yeah, with all of its mangled trebles on it.
Mangled trebles.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good. All right, guys, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Well, yeah, huge thank you to the WA tournament angler organisers, so that Alex, Joey, Paul Samasco, Macca, and I think that's about it. Oh, and Dave Bennett.
Dave Bennett, yeah.
On the media. Yeah. So those guys have obviously put a huge effort in to run the comps. So, yeah, big thank you to those guys. To the sponsors. So I think it's an Atomic sponsored series, so maybe there was a bit of the sponsor karma with the crankbait.
Coming through.
Yeah.
But also to, Tackle West and Serrano Marine. And I thank my wife for giving me a pass to go fishing on the day while she looks after our two girls. And thanks to you as well, Andrew, for running the podcast and for these interviews, because, they're always a great source of information, and then just fun to listen back to as well.
All right, guys, that's fantastic. Look, thanks for coming on. Congratulations on it. What was a really good win. And we look forward to seeing what happens in the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, mate.
All right. So, listen, it was great to have a chat with those guys. Special thanks to Outback Bream for jumping on in fourth place. So big congratulations to Travis and Josh again, taking out the round, and Aiden and Herbert on their great result. First event of the team. How good is that? So look, if you're heading to the Swan or the Tidal River service systems, make sure you pay close attention to those tide changes and those limited bike periods. Sometimes they can make or break your bag. Listen, before we move on, we've got some special stuff coming up in the Bream Fishing Project. This episode, not sure what it'll be. It'll be 194, 195. When we hit 200, there's a change of foot. Something's coming. I'm pretty excited. So stay tuned for that. As you'll see in the next week or so, I'm going to punch out a bunch of shows so we can line up perfectly with that episode 200. We'll nearly be, at the moment, we're edging around that, I think, 180,000 downloads. We might get to 190 at that 200. But either way, I'm pretty chuffed with the whole results. So listen, thanks for listening. I really appreciate you tuning in every week. It's very, very cool. If you enjoyed it, look, hit subscribe wherever you're listening. Leave me a review, hopefully a nice review, and share it with your mates. Until then, I'll catch you next week. Tight lines, get out there, catch some fish, and have a good time. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired, and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.